Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's The Handmaid's Tale, Season 4, Episode 9, entitled Progress. I give a recap of the entire episode with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. It's the aftermath of June telling Luke the truth about her last visit with Hannah. He's absorbing it all, and one can tell that he's suppressing anger to stay above water and to try to get Hannah back. June suggests that Hannah is safe and at home, but Luke doesn't take that as an answer. He tells her that home and safety is with them. They've got to fight together to get her back. Luke shares previous research, cases, calls, other inquiries of other children, and lawsuits. June is surprised at all of the research and work that he's done, but Luke feels that, quote, there's not a day that went by that I felt that I could have done more. He's doing everything to get her back. Moya is updated that June told Luke about everything concerning Hannah, and now it's time to get her back. Moya reminds June that she's got over 80 kids out of Gilead. She has power now, and she should use it. June realizes that other points of conflict have exhausted themselves, and maybe a new source is needed. Someone in Gilead. June calls Lawrence, and he knows it's her, answering the phone saying, well, hello, June, and hello, Canada. You must want something. She wants information and help concerning Hannah. He gets into her head about Gilead and how it's the only thing Hannah knows, and what a mother she would be to only take what she knows from her. He taunts her by telling her that a particular handmaid with an eye patch is safe in Gilead with Aunt Lydia to tuck her in at night. June gets the hunch and knows that he wants something in return. She tells him the Americans will push to revise Section 22B in Canada's trade agreement with Gilead, but Lawrence calls the bluff and says that Americans don't have a pot to piss in, and they still believe that they can push Canadians around. He wants a better deal. He'll get Hannah if she returns 10 children back to Gilead. The June he knows would at least bargain some of those kids for Hannah. June says no, and Lawrence calls her soft since she's been in Canada. Maybe it's all of the syrup. June says that she knows he's a good man underneath it all, but Lawrence says that amidst all of the changes, he can't ruffle any feathers. He doesn't want to waste any of the wiggle room he has. Janine scrubs the floor and sees a familiar face. It's Esther. She's on a hunger strike, and Lydia tells her she's in a blessed state to right the wrongs and flush out the deceit. But she still refuses to eat everything and knocks all to the floor. Fred and Serena open baby gifts from their supporters, who call them beacons of hope. Fred says that they must continue to have faith and do the Lord's work, and people should hear Serena's voice more. She's done it before. The aunts have an eloquent dinner discussing the fates of not only the handmaids, but more specifically, Esther. One suggests restraints and feeding her through a feeding tube. She'll get the proper nutrition, at least. Another one says that she won't need her tongue, and maybe they should just cut it out. This makes Janine squeamish, holding her mouth, and Lydia tells her to go to the kitchen and help the others. The aunts remind Lydia that Janine can't stay there much longer and should be sent to the colonies. No commander would want her with her history. Lydia tries to defend by saying she had 2 wonderful kids for Gilead, and that service shouldn't be taken lightly. They notice her favoritism and threaten that it can't last long. Janine notices Lydia later looking for a commander family and shivers with fear. Janine tells Lydia that Esther is not as strong as she thinks she is. Maybe she's behaving that way because she's scared. Back at the farm, she was abused by several men. She thinks that Esther should be given a chance to do better before they make final decisions of punishment. Lydia thinks it's a good idea that she should talk to her and warn of the consequences. This may change Esther's behavior. June cries viewing old pictures of Hannah before Luke walks in with a few suggestions. He thinks that she should reach out to another source, more specifically Nick. He says, you even said yourself that he would do anything for you and Nicole. Also, I don't even think you should take a call, with everybody listening. I think you should meet him in person. I don't want that, but he would meet you. Take Nicole with you as well. I know he wants to see his daughter. We should do anything to get Hannah back. What do you think? He is a big-time commander now. There's thick tension in the room, and it's obvious Luke tries to speak cordially while holding back furious anger. June agrees it's necessary. Serena gets a surprise visit from Naomi, and Warren is there as well to see Fred. Naomi has brought gifts from the other ladies in Gilead, and she's happy to see that she's in an environment that's airy and clean. Naomi notices Serena has been writing, which of course is a violation of Gilead. She offers and makes it brief that Serena might not be free and they'd be happy to raise the baby of hers on behalf of Gilead. Serena says that she has all the confidence that she will be freed very soon. She's surprised that Naomi came to visit her after the actions with Fred, but Naomi says that she did what she had to do in order to be with her baby Nicole. Naomi also says that Canada shouldn't raise the baby, and the offer is still on the table. Warren speaks with Fred, and Fred is frustrated. He's been out of sight, out of mind to the other commanders. There should have been some sort of negotiations to let him out since he's been loyal to Gilead. Things should be done ASAP for his family. Warren explains that negotiations would only bring more kidnappings and commanders being held hostage. But they will continue to send their thoughts and prayers instead. Esther is surprised to see Janine and confused as to where her fight went. She learns that her and June got as far as Chicago, but Janine wants her to know that she's got to eat and can't starve. She knows what starving feels like because she almost starved in Chicago. She urges that June is gone and they need to focus on surviving where they are. People in Gilead will keep torturing them until you do what they want. Her focus should be on surviving so they can be there when everything is over. She needs her to eat, live, survive. And Janine promises that she'll keep coming back to make sure she eats. And she'll even tell Lydia that she ate her food so she can go outside. June prepares for the drive to go see Nick to get more information about Hannah and also to allow him to see his daughter. Luke is afraid for her safety, but she assures that everything will be okay. He says goodbye, and the Secret Service follows closely behind. When June arrives, there's a pause of confusion and if he'll show up. But then when they see each other, there's romantic joy and smiles shared. They can't stay for long and they have to be brief. Nick is happy to see his daughter and is amazed on how quickly she's grown. He gives June information about Hannah, and she's located in Colorado Springs and doing very well in school. June is very thankful that he got all of this information just for her, and it's very critical information. He regrets not leaving and going away with June while they had a chance. He wants to do whatever he can to help June. They share very intimate stares, kisses, and forehead leans. He jokes about how there's not much of a shopping selection in Gilead, but he gets his daughter something special. Before they leave, Nick and June share even more intimate closeness. And he reminds her that, June, wherever you are, try to be more happy. After June leaves, Nick puts back on a wedding ring. And while driving away, June is mixed with smiles, happy thoughts about Nick. Fred and Serena scoff at how Gilead's actions show as if they have been erased. Serena says that they could take the baby because it belongs in their eyes to Gilead. That would be their retribution. Serena feels that they could send her to the colonies or even make her a handmaid. Fred says, no, I'll do whatever I can to protect you. But she lets him know, with what power? You can't protect me from in here. He tells her to have faith because his faith will prevail. Lydia speaks with the other aunts about more inspections with the other handmaids, and they hear more than one set of footsteps down the hall. It's Janine and Esther, more open to the ways of the handmaids, and she's been eating food. Lydia praises their obedience and allows them to get fresh air. The other aunts walk away with anger, not happy about Lydia's results. Luke awaits June's arrival, and there's a long pause before June goes in. Luke is excited to see the photos of Hannah and is excited to find out the next steps to get more information and move forward with more investigation. Mark says that they're happy that they received more information about Hannah, but he has more news. They have an even more reliable source when it comes to getting more information. It's Fred Waterford. They're puzzled as to why Fred would give any information, and he shares that he's willing to give names inside of Gilead, commanders' names, fluidities, in exchange for his freedom. Everyone is upset because June has testified and given statements, and he's allowed to go free. You all know about what he's done, but he explains that this is something that will get them even deeper into Gilead, and sometimes you have to let one fish go to get many others. June is furious and even follows him outside before he leaves, taunting him, saying, you know what he did to me? You know the things that he's done, and you're going to let him free? I'll kill you. I'll kill you over and over again. And that is the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. Elizabeth Moss did an amazing job directing this episode. And she's directed a few others, but you can always tell when her perception of camera angles, lighting, and angles come from an actor, a seasoned actor. The face-to-face scene with Luke and June, when Luke is coming to her with clearly this deep-rooted anger, sadness, all clumped into a ball, and out of desperation, knowing that there's a deep love and intimacy between her and Nick, coming to her with, as you would say, tail between your legs, willing to do and say anything to get his daughter back, to get information. He's well aware, after putting two and two together, that she didn't tell him about the farmhouse. She didn't tell him about certain things, and he's putting pieces together that she's not saying certain things because the underlying person that she's protecting is Nick. And he mentions that, oh, he's a big-time commander now. You know, he can help you. And you even said that he would do anything. You know, this sarcasm, he would do anything to protect you and his daughter. And you should take his daughter to go see him. You know, this frustration, but trying to keep it cordial because he wants her to meet with Nick because he's trying to get his daughter back. Going over June. It's this pull apart of, you know what, I'm not even thinking about you as this so-called wife of mine. I'm talking about you meeting up with some guy that you clearly love and that you clearly still care for, to meet up so get information to bring my daughter back, because clearly you protecting this man who's in this world of Gilead that also has status now, that also has changed now, that you have this access in your hand that you're not using. And he puts that together. You're not using that. You're not telling certain details because you love this person and you're trying to protect that person. And he figured it out. And he's sitting with her. And I thought it was it was just so intense and wonderful acting. When he says that part, when she goes, oh, you want me to see him? And he goes, no. I don't want you to see this man. Like, it goes from this laugh, like, you have the audacity to ask me that, this laugh, to then this psychopathic straight face. Like, no, I don't want you to see him. Absolutely beautiful and spectacular acting. He took that moment to let her know, without really saying it, I know that you're not using this source for a reason. Very intense, very good scene, wonderful acting. The sarcasm mixed with the brilliance is just, it takes pure talent to pull that off. This is foreshadowing, you guys, with Nick. Because after this, Nick is clearly in even more danger. The foreshadowing with giving Nicole a gift and the hugs and the forehead mergers and looking at each other as if they'll never see each other again. We saw that also with them on the bridge, of them kissing and them holding each other, of not knowing the future and saying goodbye. But this particular episode and those particular scenes with Nick felt different, felt completely different. Him hiding the fact that he had the wedding ring, when clearly, it's pretty obvious that they were going to marry him with someone eventually, and the marriage, being there, for a while. It shows that they still have that connection. And if Luke weren't in the picture, it's very obvious that they would fight to be together. And they still love one another. So he's in a very, very dangerous position right now. Obviously, a lot of people that are commanders and that are on the panel, right, in the committee, are shifting away from Nick and banging more on the lean of Lawrence and listening to his words and his leadership. So he's kind of dangling along on the side there, and he has this role. But how long will he have that role of having that power? How long will that last? And that probably won't last long, okay? We also have to consider we are still in times of war. And we don't know if the Secret Service was listening to the conversation. We don't know if they put anything in the bag, on her jacket, on the vehicle. They have ways of listening. So, you have spies everywhere. They can use any information against June and saying, hey, you still love this person. Clearly you weren't treated too badly because you love this guy that's the commander of Gilead. That can be flipped and done so many different ways. And it's absolutely brilliant. Fred, and I'll actually insert the video after this, where last season I predicted pretty much to a T what would happen in this season. And I was actually really, really right. And that Fred, understanding that he could possibly spend the rest of his life in jail, it becomes an individual survivor mode. And that's exactly what he did. Now that we know that Fred has said, you know what? I'm going to trade for my freedom. Okay. Let's talk about it when he gets back. If and when he gets back to Gilead. He may have this underlining power and completely regulate with everybody. He may do the most gruesome things to a lot of people when he gets back, because he's seen that they didn't even negotiate. They didn't come for him. They didn't do anything. So will he just wipe out a lot of people? Because he's going to give names. So is he just going to just kill them off and start over and have a totally new committee? That's possible, because he's upset and scorned. And if that's the case, he's clearly gonna have punishment for Serena. He'll probably keep that baby because that's his baby, right? But he may throw her into the colonies. There's no telling, because he even came forward to get her finger chopped off, her pinky. So clearly there's going to be some type of punishment when he gets back to Gilead, because she's the one that snitched to get him captured in the first place. And if it's not Fred, it's going to be everybody else that's going to vote to have the worst for Serena. It's going to happen. The confidence of Serena in saying that, well, it's my husband, he may not get out. It's probably highly likely he won't get out. But me, I'm going to be out soon. The confidence of it all, and all the support and the gifts. It was awesome cinematic foreshadowing as well. When it came to Naomi, the extended hand out of gifts and joy, but then at the same time, the knife behind the back, which is foreshadowing again. Foreshadowing in this episode, okay? Because at the same time that Fred is doing that and everybody has their own plans with things, Canada's doing the same thing. You have a lot of pawns that are in the picture because we are talking about war. June thinking that she's the epitome idol of the lead of everything that's going on. But Canada has their motives as well. Not one person, as they mentioned, is above everything else that's going on. We're talking about several families. We're talking about several kids. We're talking about more than just June. So for June to think that I've done this and I've had a testimony, then everything should be copacetic now. But that's not the case, because Moria gave a statement. Several others have gave a statement. And how dare she think her statement is better than everybody else's towards that commander or any other commander. So it's this slap of reality of, girl, they're going to do whatever they can to get where they're trying to go to attack and conquer, to do that. And that's what they're doing. Janine and Esther, are they safe? Because truly there's some hateration, holleration with the other aunts when it comes to Lydia. They see her dominance. They see her presence. They don't like her. They never have. And to see Esther turn around and do that, when they walked off, I'm like, Janine and Esther are in danger, and so is Lydia. All foreshadowing. Janine saying that we've got to do what we got to do to survive. And we've got to say and do things because we're thinking about making it after all of this. Foreshadowing that there's a lot of more gruesome stuff and death that's coming for a lot of characters. And people who are thinking that everything's all great. It's just not going to happen that way, which is what I predicted. And I'll post that video where I predict what happened in the season. And I was absolutely right. I'm kind of patting myself on the back for that, because I saw how the writing was kind of flowing with that. Lydia has enemies. And if Fred is free and he gets to Gilead, it can either go one or two of those ways. He's writing a list of people who weren't loyal and he's wiping people out. But he may think he's going out, he's giving up his freedom, and he may not have the power that he thinks, and it may be the wall for him, which is what the audience wants, right? The audience is like, Fred's free and he goes back to Gilead. Clearly he's, gonna meet his doom. But if he doesn't, right? If he doesn't, who's gonna be on his side to say, we want Fred back? And that determining person will be Lawrence. Whoever Lawrence chooses and he has the back of, the commanders are going to follow in line. And when that happens, Warren's out of here and his wife are done for, because he's going to remember that your wife said that, it's possible that to take the baby away, right? He's going to regulate y'all. And that's what's going to happen. He's going to wipe a lot of people out. And the number one person is going to be Nick. People are going to notice the difference of when Fred was there and notice the difference of when Nick was there. They're going to blame somebody. And that's what's going to be the implosion, right? Explosion from the inside, the implosion of Gilead. A lot of them, seeing, where does your loyalty lie type of thing. But that responsibility doesn't change. Like any mafia movie, if one Don falls, right, and is killed off, it's not the end of the mafia. It's just somebody else steps into that place. And that's something that we're going to see for season 5. is that transition of power and how that's going to change. It's going to get really, really ugly. And him being in jail, him being questioned, and his wife not being loyal and all these other things, and Serena flipping back and forth on him. Ooh, it's gonna be something else. Now, June's love for Nick. I said that in one of the reviews for this season, that June is clearly in love with Nick and not Luke. There's committed attachment with Luke, but it's been so long because we're human, right? We're human to the fact of out of sight, out of mind can happen. To where love, you still love that person, but being in love could be gone. And her having that emotional attachment with Nick is what I discussed. It was stronger because it's something that she's more familiar with, and she's also shared that bond and having a child with this person, which is the foreshadowing of the doll of, is this goodbye? Because it's highly likely that Nick is done for. Okay, and showing that connection, it's gonna really flip June for the loop. This is how I know that their love and their marriage is just a toss in the air. The scene showing Luke waiting on June to come back to the house. And there isn't this, oh my goodness, you're home, hug and kiss out the car, and I'm glad you're safe. There's a stare down, right? There's a stare down and some pauses before she gets out the car. Now, it's funny because a lot of comedians will say when you're married for a very long time or you're in a relationship for a very long time, after you get off of work, you don't even go straight home. You know, you stay in the car, you take a moment like, okay, here we go. I'm going in the house, see what the spouse is going to say. You got the kid. It was that passion and that excitement of getting in the door was gone. And them showing that dynamic was clear as night and day. And a lot of people might have missed that, but I didn't. The reaction of her seeing Nick with the smile and seeing him from afar and giggling and holding him and the kisses, that passion was not the same with Luke. It was literally a forced intimacy of sex between June and Luke. Like, okay, let me do this. You're my husband. And maybe this just expected that this is what you want. What's next? Meanwhile, June and Nick are sharing these, oh my goodness, I'm so in love with you moments, as if they're newlyweds and so in love. Nick and June's dynamic is changing, just like the dynamic of June and Moria, which I've mentioned, with Moria saying, well, you know, you got power, you got kids out, you know, you might as well take advantage of that and using it, kind of like saying, well, you're the bomb.com girl, so I guess now, so, you know, call whoever, you know, you can call anybody type of vibe. Because they've given so much, and Luke being so frustrated, like, oh, take Nicole to see, you know, her daddy, you know, because I've been here taking care of her this whole dang on time. It's anger, and we may see some good monologue scenes of arguments because they've been trying to be, you know, cordial, and it's trauma, and you don't want to say too much too soon, which is understandable, but that time is coming where they probably just gonna cuss each other out. It's getting to that point that you were in a situation of Gilead and being tortured and all this stuff happening to you, but the guy you find is a driver and now a commander. Oh, it's coming out. The anger's gonna come out, and it's just only a matter of time before Luke pops, because he's done everything to help her and to be there, yet everything's turning. Moria's done everything to be there and to do everything for June, but now that's turning. They've lost out on their lives because they're trying to be there. Now, which is, you know, what I said, which is life, right? You're gonna go all in for your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, dad. I mean, that's normal, but there's a tug and a pull of everybody has a limit. I'm going to insert the video now in which I made the prediction of what would happen in season 4, and I want you to see how accurate it was. But this is my prediction of why it was a good ending. So think about what has happened and who has been captured. We have Fred and we have Serena. The entire time Fred was in confinement and answering questions. He gave very broad answers, probably didn't give up any names, said, well, Fred, were you the leader of this? Did you command this? I helped to put together some meetings, knowing he was a commander. But what did he do under pressure and realizing that, dude, you might get locked up for the rest of your life? He gives up Serena. Now Serena is in confinement as being charged as a murderer and a rapist and a war criminal. She's gonna sing too. There's no way that they are gonna take the bind for all of Gilead. They are ready to sing like birds, okay? Birds. They are ready to give up some names. The main problem and the main issue why America and Canada couldn't really penetrate a lot of areas with Gilead is because they couldn't penetrate who was who and what was what and secret roads and certain trade areas. Everything was so secretive. Gilead did a wonderful job, okay, of keeping things so secretive, not letting it be known who the commanders were, who the leaders were. Now that Canada and the United States have some names, they have some possible connection points of who's in control. We also have Commander Wilson. He's gone. Are the people that are under all of these commanders, are they going to start snitching? They probably will, because who wants to take a fault for a crime that all of us have contributed in, right? They are going to sing like birds, and it's just going to have a domino effect, and commander after commander after commander, and slowly I think they will start to penetrate Gilead better now that they have an understanding of who is who, because Serena's thinking about that baby that's not her. Fred is revengeful, right? And spiteful that Serena even did what she did. They will start snitching and talking about what's what and who's who. The more information they give, maybe their punishment won't be as bad. So they think. Also, I do predict, unfortunately, that Joseph will be killed and murdered because he just had all these Marthas and all these kids get out of Gilead via his connection with the possible plane, or knowing of the plane, or acting dumb of what was going on. They trust his judgment, but they're going to put two and two together that it's possible that he could have helped June and everybody else escape. So I think that Joseph will see his fate, and I think he's already accepted his fate in knowing that after all of this, he will be on the wall, or he will be killed, or he will be murdered. Because, or they may keep him because there's only so many commanders left. And will other commanders see this as an opportunity to escape them damn selves? Like, maybe they really didn't want that job in the first place. Maybe they really want to get out themselves. Serena did, and she was sold Team Gilead in the beginning. You also have to understand, this is a television show, right? But since it is a very dramatic television show, I hope they don't go the Walking Dead route and get greedy and keep it churning and going and dragging it on, and like, what's the conclusion of this and when is it gonna stop? I honestly hope that they only go no further than a season 5, or maybe even end it in season 4. It shouldn't go any further than that. What we have to learn and understand is that a show can't be some Disney, oh, we made it to Canada, the end. No, there's so many pieces to war, getting out of the war. What's next? Is it Canada? Is it the United States? Is Gilead gone completely? That is a lot to break down and explain. It can't simply be, we made it out of Gilead, we're in Canada now, the end. No, there's always this constant threat to what is going on, right? We have to keep that in mind. So I do hope that they take season 4 to be more on the end of not focusing on Gilead, but focusing on maybe the viewpoint of the United States and Canada of how they're going to penetrate these areas of Gilead and take it down. That would be what the audience will need. We already know about Gilead. We already seen what happened to that. It's time to flip it around and see what they've been doing from the other side. That would be genius if they did that for season 4 and season 5. Not necessarily putting everything in a nice bag and in a bowl and ending perfectly, but season 4 or 5 should end in such a way that the audience knows that there's this hope lingering that Gilead will fall. So your girl was on point, right? In estimating what would happen this season, pretty much to a T, right? I knew that Fred was going to, crack under the pressure. Serena, that Gilead, the only way to get to them was from the inside. That's the only way. There's only so many spies that you could send. There's only some, So for season 5, I would think the capacity of season 5 is we've got to know what the rest of the world is doing. What are the decisions that other people are making? Where's China? Where's everybody else? Where's London? What's up with the rest of the world? We've heard certain things about trade, and we even had discussions about South America when it came to food and all of these things that were going on. But we really need that zoom out to look at the rest of the world and seeing, are they just like, well, that's just their problem? Or has it migrated over the ocean? Has it gotten to where people are adapting certain concepts of Gilead, right? Or are they trying to penetrate within to have them implode as well? Hopefully season 5 will show us that. Maybe the beginning of season 5 will show us how certain accesses and names giving up will implode Gilead, and also the rest of the world, and how they're helping, ignoring, or trying to figure it out themselves. Or maybe it's just a totally different entity that they see it, that's what's going on that side of the world, and maybe it's not a matter that they're taking seriously. We don't know, and that's what I cannot wait to see. And I think that that's what they're going to do. It will be smart for them to do that, because as quickly as they were able to overtake America, I'm so curious about everybody else, all the other countries and continents. What are they doing, and how have they been affected or not affected? How has it affected trade when it comes to food? Because we do share the same atmosphere. We share the same, you know what I mean? We share the same planet. So a lot of the effects of the world that they did mention when it comes to health and toxicity, it's smart that they probably have all shared the same effects. But I would like to know, is living better? Housing, land, is it worse overseas? We don't know. So I think that would be beautiful to see. Sometimes this series surprises the viewers with making us think that it's only one episode left, and they may surprise us with maybe 2 more. I don't know. But if in the next season, if in this final episode for episode 10, if they're going to show us that, okay, Fred's status, what's happening with Fred now that he's free. Okay, so we're going to see that would be the good closer of what's happening with that, and also the commanders of Gilead. That's the only thing that makes sense. And then also, clearly they're going to use Hannah as leverage, as bait for June, because she is the core of why a lot of things have shifted with Fred's freedom, and Serena's fate is because of her. Season 5 should be winding everything and tying everything together when it comes to globally what's going on, and then hopefully they don't wear it out past a season 6, because it wouldn't really be necessary to go that far, and you're going to drag out several storylines that could really be concluded. We have enough information and things can start to come to a close. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, like this video, and make sure that you share, and also put your comments below to see if you agree or you disagree. Also check out other shows that are in the pinned comment below, all of those links, and watch some shows that maybe you haven't heard of, and maybe something that's out of the norm of what you would usually watch. And also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name, officialbunne_E. If you're here just for Handmaid's Tale, I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye.